Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Transformers masterpiece MPG-02 Getsuei. Yeah, another train bot. He's a Cybertron Night Fighter. You can see him there in his vehicle mode. We'll go ahead and put that on the side. We'll take a look at this box, which, yep, it's another long MPG box. You got the MPG logo there. You got, of course, Getsuei, posing and all that stuff. You got, yeah, a whole bunch of his name and whatnot there. You got on top, you have the Transformers MPG. On the side here, you have him in his train mode. On this side, you have him in his robot mode. On the bottom, you have a bunch of warnings and copyrights and stuff. And on the back, you have a whole bunch of product shots and what's in the box. And, well, hey, look, he's part of, Raiden, the Getsuei mode, 1 piece of 6. So, yeah, you have all that stuff. Of course, comes with his instructions, which are printed kind of small in some places. You can see, once again, also it's the poster style, so that's always fun to have to deal with that. Yeah. They're actually not that bad, all things considered. I'm looking at these. These are not this worst I've seen for when it comes to masterpiece instructions. Is that. Only thing is they also had to include a second paper, which includes a few corrections, mostly in the text, actually. Just kind of more of the stuff like showing you that this is the front of the train and so on and so forth. There's little things like that just telling you that, how to. There's a couple of clarifications mostly in the text and not in the picture, so that's a thing. And there's, of course, the bio card, which, nice little bit of artwork there in his train mode and robot mode night and everything, and tech specs and, bio and all that stuff. So, there you go. Anyway, Getsuei. He is MPG-02. He is the second member of the train bots, to turn and ride and all that stuff. Yeah, you can see he's an electric train. They got those little things to attach to the wires and stuff. Here, they're not collapsible. These are die-cast bits, which, you attach. He is an EF65 electric train, specifically. This one is 1120, I guess. You can see, looking up close on some of this, you can see some venting, some windows, little doors, and even the handles picked out a little bit. Striping. All that stuff, the blue, dark blue, and the nice, I guess, the almost creamish color right there. You got the train wheels down there, picked out in silver as well. You got all that. Got some weirdness there. There you go. And all spin. And of course, you got some stuff here. You got the windows, translucent plastic, and you got the red picked out there and all that stuff, both ends. It's like it's mirrored. And at the top, you got some little bits of detailing here at the top. Got a little bit of gold right there. I think that's supposed to be the horn. So yeah, very nice looking train. And these little coupling things, we'll get into in a little bit. Very nice looking train. He does roll, but of course, he's still supposed to have roll on the track, which... yeah, it comes with 2 track pieces, which can combine, of course, as usual. And yeah, you can just plop them on there and... yep. Plop them on there and you can roll a little bit on this bit of track. There you go. That's pretty cool. One other cool thing about this track actually is what's underneath it, actually, because it kind of shows us what might be coming soon, which is, hey, look, that's an outline, which kind of looks a bit sword-like, perhaps. Yep, because Raiden did have a sword. So likely there's storage for a sword, which you haven't seen yet, but that is a thing. Now, the other thing about this is it is compatible with certain stands, namely this stand. If you got tracks, Masterpiece tracks, or Black Arachnia, came with this stand arm. Stand arm. Right here, right? They also sold this stand separately for a little while, but unfortunately you can't get it separately anymore unless you go find it on eBay or something. But yeah, this can plug into any of the 4 holes right there, like so. And then there's a little clear adapter piece, which, yep, much like Shoki. And this one, what you want to do is right here, there's a screw hole up in there, and there's a peg on this. You just go ahead and slot this in between these wheels and put in that peg. And then that just came off. Usually these peg in actually pretty well. That was unusual. Yeah, that just slots in right there. And then you go ahead and peg that over. And now you got flying train mode. Because, yeah, they flew in the anime. So that's the thing. And, of course, this has the different armatures and whatnot. So you can adjust how you have that sit. I believe the ones they sold separately are clear. So that might be a different thing. There you go. Go ahead and pull it off. And, yeah, surprise when you pull that off there, it tends to bring the adapter with it. Now, the other thing, of course, is he has a gun, little gun that comes with it. Pretty simple. And the cool thing is swords here is actually much better, I feel, than Shoki, just because, it doesn't, fail. But you come back here is you just open up that panel on the back, and back here, there's a little slot right there in between the wheels. You just slot this in, make sure the handle's pointing up. You slot this in, like so, and then close this up, and there you go. Gun's nice and secure inside of Getsuei here, which is nice. Gun's nice and secure there, doesn't get in the way, and doesn't fall out very easily, which is cool. And yeah, the one last thing, of course, you can do. I'm gonna hopefully get them on the tracks properly. Yeah, this front one can twist a bit, so you have to watch it when you're putting on the tracks. If it's slightly twisted, it's not going to line up properly. There we go. Yeah, you can see these just do come off. They just peg in real simple. Thing is, the pegs are slightly offset, so you have to make sure to line those up properly, because if you don't, it's going to be sitting weird. It won't go in the other way. You have to make sure they're sitting in correctly. It's weird how that's coming off real easy, because usually it's pretty solid in there, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so regardless though, sitting in the tracks, right? Now, yeah, you have those little couplers, which means, because I guess this is also bonus comparison. Yeah, here's Shoki, who is a significantly larger train, because these are in scale with each other. This is how big the trains are in comparison to each other in real life, more or less. So yeah, Shoki is a bigger train. This also means his tracks, you can see the track gauges different. The tracks do not line up. Also, Shoki's off his tracks. But yeah, the cool thing is, you can see that. Also, the train tracks themselves are actually shorter, but they are compatible with each other in the sense they can hook up. If I can get my finger underneath. Yeah, they can hook up together. Yeah, they can hook up together. If they, cooperate. Like that. Yeah, you can see right there the train tracks don't quite line up. But anyway, they can hook up. And then Getsuei on the Getsuei in the tracks there. You can line up, and then their couplings there just kind of peg in, and there you go. They can form 2/6 of the train, 1/3 of the coming train. They do. One thing, of course, yeah, I get to a point where it's like, uh-oh. Yeah, Shoki here just bangs into the that rail, and he will just derail himself. Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm looking at this, considering where the tracks are and everything. There should be enough for when Yukikaze shows up, be able to hook them up here and so on and so forth. This thing's going to be pretty long by the time it's done with. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show the full train on a video, not without some cleverness. There you go. That's and on top of that, that's actually a pretty, I'm going to do something stupid we should never ever do. It's actually a pretty solid connection between the two, despite the fact it's just, two wedge-shaped things. I am lifting it up. This is off the ground. That's a pretty solid connection. I would not recommend doing that, mind you, because, these are masterpiece things, but you can. Just I wouldn't recommend doing it. So anyway, yeah, Getsuei. Great little train. It's smaller, it's cheaper than Shoki, but it's a great little train nonetheless, and I rather like it. And yeah, it's just really fun. And I'm going to go ahead and transform him to robot mode real quick, and we'll go ahead and keep doing the review. Okay. Yeah, Getsuei in his robot mode here. Yeah, he is a very different robot from Shoki, where Shoki is very kind of bulky. He's much more lithe in general, except for he does have some leg bulk and whatnot. But largely, he compacts down pretty well overall. And the weird thing is he's got this weird like thing going on with the chest, which kind of is apparently supposed to be somewhat reminiscent of like old samurai armor, is my understanding. But a lot of people are not really happy with it, but I think it's fine. Anyway, so got a silver face, blue eyes, kind of a bit of more of a kind of, antenna head with little horns things. You got black arms and the blue and silver, the little Autobot logo there on the chest. Again, you can see kind of see through it, which again kind of implies the whole samurai armor thing. You got the blue here down, and then you got black, and then some more blue, and yeah. And again, you got, the train bits hanging out there and all that stuff. You got this thing, which is, yeah, that whole, like, that's supposed to be kind of reminiscent of the old toy right here, but you can also, leave it down like that if you want. If you think that looks better, you can do that, but officially it is supposed to be like this, which is somewhat reminiscent of the old toy, although the old toy actually had stuff hanging off it, so right here it's just kind of an empty thing, but that's a thing. Yeah, he's actually pretty good looking. I like him a lot. Again, his transformation is actually pretty, not bad, actually. I think this is actually a pretty good transformation overall. The only thing I would say be careful about, of course, is these panels and sliders and stuff, which are a little fragile, apparently. Multiple people broke right here, particularly this particular bit of plastic where the slider goes in. People have broken, although I believe it's mostly on this side people are breaking theirs, but mine's been fine so far. But just, if you get this guy, just watch out for those. Be really careful. I explained a little bit in the transformation video, but just be really careful with those panels. I don't think they're going to be a problem overall. I think overall it's going to be largely problem free, but there's going to be careful a couple of stories about that. And also, again, I suspect some people are not as careful with these things that they probably should be. Just go, oh, it's expensive, it'll be fine. No, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it's a pretty good figure overall. The other thing I would say is sometimes because this stuff is kind of complicated, if this stuff doesn't line up perfectly, because his toes can sometimes do that. What happens is he will sometimes want to fall backwards, but he's planting down just fine. So I'm not really having a problem with that right now. As long as this is all lined up down here, he plants down and everything's good. There's not really a problem there. Yep, that's the thing. Unfortunately, the other thing is you can't really do anything with these in this mode. They don't store anywhere or do anything. Oh, by the way, these are also die-cast. I forgot to mention these are die-cast. You can hear that. They're die-cast metal. So that's, I think, the one thing on him that's actually die-cast. I think everything else is plastic. So that's the thing. In this mode, you got a couple things. So one thing, of course, is gun here, which... Yep, got his gun, which, yeah, nice gray colors, all that stuff. He can hold that. Just, you know, open up his hand. It's pretty much like pretty much other Masterpiece. Got a little tab on his handle, slot in the palm. Figure that out. Tab that together, and there you go. You can hold his gun pretty solidly, actually. It's not nothing's going wrong there. So yeah, got a pretty solid hold on his gun, at least in my experience. The other thing is these panels, they don't get in the way or anything. I find that they look like they might get in the way. They really don't. They, you know, because those between the multiple hinges they're on, they actually move out of the way pretty easily when you need them to. So that's actually really nice. So you don't have to worry about too much about that. The other thing, I believe that right there, that is Thomas C stage port, and to double check that, I think it's compatible with the stand. Yes, that is compatible with the stand. So if you have that, there you go. You can, you know, of course, attach this to the rails and everything. I'm not going to pull that off. But yeah, you can attach it without the adapter. You don't need the adapter for robot mode. So there you go. That's the thing. The other thing is really neat. Gun storage, which, you know, you can take this, fold this up like that. And these little bits right here, the little triangle bits on the back here, there's on either side, there's this little wedge, triangle wedge shaped divots. And you can just kind of go ahead and either side just wedge that on, and there you go. It holds on pretty securely, and you can even bring that over top of it a little bit, although it kind of has to either sit weird or unseat that a bit. But yeah, you can kind of bring that over top to really hold hide the gun, and kind of you can kind of do the thing of him, I guess, kind of reaching back a bit, but it's, you know, kind of implied if anything. But it's kind of neat. You can do that. So yeah. Gun control back there, and it's pretty solid. I'm not having any issues with that there. So anyway, posability, his head. You got left and right there. You got up and down. You got a little tiniest bit of wiggle, not a whole lot though because of the molding stuff, but you know, pretty decent head overall. You get a bit of wiggle if you start rotating it, but yeah, you really don't. One thing is, yeah, there's points where it's like, yeah, definitely a bit stiffer because it has to clear stuff, but you do have enough posability field to, you know, be good. Shoulders here, you got, you know, full rotation there. You got outward here, and then also more outward there, although that starts banging into things. But yeah, you have those two outward joints if you want. You do have a bicep swivel, though. Make sure that this panel is up, because the way this rotation works, I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see that rotation. There's a div cutout for that. If this panel is too far forward or anything, this bicep swivel will not work because this brings this down a bit, and now the bicep's kind of locked. So just, you know, watch it. If you feel the bicep, you know, stop rotating. Don't force it. Just make sure this panel's out of the way first. But yeah, again, it gets out of the way pretty easily. Elbows though, double jointed, so full curl. Wrists are on swivels. Right there, and the fingers can open and close. It's just one solid piece, but they open and close. Thumb doesn't move or anything. You got rotation at the waist. It's only you get this much before things kind of stop because of kibble and whatnot. But I feel that's enough for most poses before he starts looking like he's breaking himself in half. No ab crunch, although he does have that for the combined mode, which, yeah, but no ab crunch because of that, I guess, probably because there's not enough room in there for an ab crunch, and that without making it ridiculous. Of course, these can get out of the way. These hip skirt pieces can get out of the way, and he's got ratcheted hips. Go forward about that far. Back, well, they don't really go back. They go about that far back. Outward, you have that much range, almost full splits. There's a thigh swivel, and the knees, ratcheted, and get about 90 degrees. Or, you know, all this stuff gets in the way. And down here at the feet, you got, well, the toe can go up and down, you know, that's can be nice. And there is an ankle tilt, although this stuff doesn't move, but because of how the ankle tilt works, it actually doesn't really become an issue. The ankles, obviously, you can see still hold pretty well. Really enough, this hip joint on mine is way stiffer than this hip joint, so, you know, if I'm like trying to, you know, move this will just keep going before this one finally starts to move. So that's a weird thing, but yeah. And of course, this thing you can kind of slightly adjust if you want. You can't really put it flat unless you want it looking kind of goofy, but you can kind of adjust that how you want. That bit right there. Usually tabs in pegs in pretty solid, but for some reason right now it doesn't want to. I don't know why. Because of course it doesn't. Anyway, yeah. Pretty good posability. I would say pretty good posability overall. Real quick comparisons. Here's the old standby MP sideswipe, just for, comparison to the cars. I didn't do the alt mode comparisons just because they're out of scale. They just are. The only thing that they don't even scale with generation stuff. So yeah, they don't only scale with each other in combined mode. So just roll with that. But here they are. They're again slightly taller than the car bots, so you can see that. Here's the MP49, just so you can see that height. Although he's kind of standing funny. There you go, I think. Why are you standing funny? Yeah. That's what happens when you quickly vacuum something off right before you put it on camera. But you can see a bit smaller in there, obviously. And of course, the most important one, which is here he is with Shoki, who is actually a bit taller. And also you can see Shoki's generally just larger, just kind of a thicker build overall compared to Getsuei. But that kind of makes it Shoki's a bigger train, and he's also the leader, so it makes sense. Regardless, they look good together, and I cannot wait for the rest. And Yuka Kaze is coming in, what, January, February next year or something like that? I can't remember the exact, it was March, whatever, somewhere in there. And they just revealed the fourth one. I guess the fifth and sixth will be coming down the line pretty soon. So there you go. So yeah, that's the robot mode, which fantastic in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the combined mode and continue this review. Okay, so I'm not going to do one thing, of course. I'm not going to compare this to Shoki's combined mode, because that would be just kind of weird, and there's no real comparison. There's a torso versus a leg, so they're all going to be together when they're all, out. So, yeah, so first thing, yeah, so Getsuei's leg mode here, it's actually, pretty clever. Pretty neat looking leg, I think. It's kind of weirdly thin. Well, not really thin, but I think, it's going to look fine when it's all combined, but it does kind of feel a little thin because it is a train. And then, well, obviously it's going to eventually have a little thing attached here on this side ankle because, well, that's how it works. It does work pretty well. Some of the stuff, like, I wish, some of this does not tab in together at all. This is just kind of like these parts just kind of, chill out back here, kind of fill things up out a bit because, well, Yuka Kaze is a bigger train, so they kind of have to make this one look a little bigger and Yuka Kaze look a little smaller and all that stuff. The kind of cool thing, I think, if you miss Transformative, you got this whole thing, which you got this in the heel and everything. If you transform this, kind of going back to train mode a bit, you kind of now it's on Heelys. And now theoretically, if Yuka Kaze has it's going to be a bit unstable. If Yuka Kaze can do this sort of thing with the wheels down, then theoretically you can have a ride-in rolling around on Heelys or whatever, so that's might be fun. Don't know yet. We'll find out when Yuka Kaze comes out. Yeah, it's this is the thing. So yeah, it's clear there's going to be some degree of posability. You got, ankle tilting forward and there. You got some there. There's a bit of, thanks to this, the swivel, you got a bit of, I guess this is going to be well, it's not really a thigh swivel. It's a ankle swivel. Only thing is, it is kind of limited thanks to, well, just how things are. You're going to have to, just because how things are, you can feel like right there's like stuff pushing against that. So just be really careful you're going to use that. The other thing is the knee. People freaked out because this is, if you do this, how the instructions tell you to do it, this is how much knee movement you get. That. If you do that, you're kind of stuck. It's weird. You can see cutouts in this. You can see a cutout in this for these little plunger thing, the little slider things and everything, and for that to rest. And that's the extent of the knee movement. However, if you untab this stuff, I talked about this in the transformation video, but here it's worth repeating. Untab and slide these out. Untab those and slide the panels out. Then you got, well, more knee movement. I'll go see. Make sure these are out of the way too. You get that much knee movement, which is near 90. The only thing is at this point now you're banging into these panels, but you get near 90 degrees. And then, well, if you notice too, there are divots in here too for that. It's rounded divots and everything. So you bring this down and, well, yeah, if you bend this down and then, slide these in a bit, they'll push up against this. And now it's not all the way in, but this is, this lets you get much more knee movement. So you kind of have to do that thing of like make a choice. If you want posability, you're going to have to let these kind of slide out a bit, which isn't too bad. You can see how much it's out. It's really not that bad. But if you want it to all be nice and clean and compact and whatnot, he's only going to be standing on the shelf anyway, then this you can slide those in. They'll be much nicer looking, I guess, overall. But you're going to have to make that decision. It's just how it is. I don't mind it. Apparently there's one person who kind of really doesn't like that, but I don't mind it as an engineering choice. It kind of works and just kind of gives you a choice between cleanliness or posability. So it kind of depends on you. Right now, of course, it's because the foot's so thin and everything, when you tilt the ankle, it just wants to fall over. But that will not be a problem when, of course, there's 2 feet, and also on top of that, there will be a counterweight over here. So eventually, and as we discovered, and one of the things I can complain about Shoki's combined mode was, the backpack doesn't tab in or anything. But it turns out it will. The head platform will kind of hold it all together. So I suspect it's one of those things where I don't want to criticize things too much till we got for the combined modes until we got all of it together now. Because it's become pretty clear, they did think of that. We're just kind of not seeing it yet because we don't have all the figures. So we'll see how that goes down the line. So, yeah, it's a good little leg. And I think Raiden, what I'm seeing, Raiden's going to be pretty good looking overall by the time it's all said and done. But we won't know for sure until, the last one's out. Khan. So, I think Getsuei here is great. He is a great train. If you're only looking for one train, he is cheaper than Shoki. I know, I've seen a handful of people only want one of the trains because apparently, ducked their hands on one when they were a kid or something, or they just really like that train. This is a solid one for sure. I think it's so far it's been great. The only thing again to watch out for really is the panels on the back. The sliding panels can be scary if you're not paying attention. So just really pay attention when you're messing with those. Don't bend them too much. Don't really bend them. Try to just slide straight in and out. No, don't bend it too much if you can avoid it. But it's overall very solid transformer, I think. You can get, as of right now, if you import it from Japan, you get it for about roughly $120 total, like shipping and everything. I think even cheaper. I think I got mine for $114. It was not cheap, or it's not exactly expensive for an MP, considering the exchange rate right now and everything. So I think it's great. I really like it a lot, and I think it's worth checking out if you haven't already. I've seen some people get convinced to go ahead and invest all in because they got Getsuei here and really liked it, and when they hadn't got Shoki too. So, yeah, really like this one. I'm looking forward to the rest still. We're getting, we're 1/3 of the way there. So we'll see. We'll see that in the future. But yeah, I really like this guy, and I definitely recommend him. Even as a standalone, he's pretty solid, and the transformation's great. The transformation's nice and flows well. pretty clever. Robot mode looks pretty good, even with all the panels and stuff. The train mode's great. The leg mode even looks good. I'm just really can't wait to see the full ride. And so, yeah, enough babbling. This is good. Get it if you like trains, or just really want the first official MP combiner. So, yeah, that's it for this one. I hope you found it informative and entertaining. Hope you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Twitter. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1, and check out my coffee and my Patreon. And I'll see you next time with another video review.